Hello, everybody. Welcome back to week 9 material. This week we are working with Create with Code Unit 3. As you can see, this is the Create with Code Unit 3, what the final project looks like. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that collider, that obstacle there. I'm going to go ahead and add in the obstacle prefab here. And we'll go ahead and play this little game. As you may recall from working with Unit 3, you created an infinite, endless side scroller where you're just jumping over basic fences here. And if you hit a fence, you lose. Endless scrolling background. The character has some basic animations. The fences topple over if you hit one. Very simple, very straightforward, very decent little project to work on. You'll also notice that I'm working on an older version of Unity for this particular week. I'm working on Unity 2018 up here. You'll notice some of the differences, like the fact that this is all light instead of dark, the fact that we have access to the asset store from within the program itself as opposed to having to go online. We'll be playing a little bit with some of the specific things about Unity 2018 throughout the course of these videos, but everything that I'm showing you here can basically be done in any version of Unity. The reason we're in this version of Unity is because I got this project from GitHub, the completed version of the Unit 3 with Create with Code. I'm going to go ahead and properly credit the person that put this scene together and made it accessible for people up in the Moodle. This week, I want to customize this scene here, and that'll expose us a little bit to working with obstacles here. So we have the game, we played it, we know how it works. We're going to go ahead and target the obstacle prefab, the little fence here, and we're going to change that with our own custom with our own custom assets. So let's go ahead and jump into Maya. We have this fun little cactus enemy I made a while ago. I'm going to go ahead and just export it because it's all ready to go. I already went ahead and scaled it up. I went ahead and reduced the faces. I cleaned up the history. This is all ready to go for exporting. So let's go ahead and go to File. Let's make sure we select it first. File, Export Selection, FBX, yes. Export the cacti to the desktop. We'll go ahead and open up Unity again. From Unity, we will go to this folder I made called Maya Models. We will import in the cacti. And there we are. And we can compare and make sure this is an appropriate asset here. When it comes to obstacle work, I've noticed that you want to make sure you don't actually scale up your assets, scale or rotate your assets at all within the within the scene itself, at least not in this version of Unity. You want to make sure that things are already properly scaled and sized within Maya first, and this seems like an appropriate size. This is comparable to the fence that we have here, so this should be okay. All right, our asset is in. We can go ahead and actually, you know what? We want to make sure not only that the scaling is not messed with in the scene here. We also want to make sure the rotation isn't messed with. And I'm going to rotate it, so I'm actually going to rotate it in Maya first. So here I'm just going to rotate 180 degrees. 180 degrees, there we go. Perfect. Now I can modify, freeze the transformations. We can export this again. Again, we want to make sure we don't mess with the rotations or the scaling at all when we're dealing with obstacles. With obstacle assets that we're bringing in. So I'm going to go ahead and export this. And export the selection. Perfect. Now we can go back in here. We can delete this old version. And we can import in the new version, which should just be overwritten, so it's the same file. There we are. And I bring this in. It's facing the correct direction. Wonderful. Okay, we can work with this. Now, how exactly do we work with this? Well, as I've been preaching for weeks and weeks and weeks now, the best way to do anything in Unity, especially as beginners, is by reverse engineering your work. So let's go ahead and take a look at the original obstacle asset, and let's see what we actually have here. We have this transform. It's tagged as an obstacle. We have a rigid body component, a box collider component, and 2 scripts. We are going to go ahead and apply all this to my cacti here. I'm going to go ahead and just go fast because we've been doing reverse engineering of other people's work for weeks now, so this shouldn't be new to you, this process of copying what's here into my own asset here. So I'm just going to go fast. Here we go. Alright, everything has been applied. That should be okay. Let's go ahead and make it a prefab now. We'll make it a prefab variant. There we are. We don't need this original version in the scene anymore. Last thing we need to do is jump over to the spawn manager here in the hierarchy. We need to replace the obstacle prefab with obstacle to the Mario cacti that we have here. And let's test it out. Let's see how this looks, shall we? There it is. There is my cacti. If I run into it, it does, in fact, operate as an obstacle. Wonderful. So just a short video, wanted to reverse engineer. Oh, wow, very difficult. Just a short video, wanted to reverse engineer the process of setting up the obstacle. Some things I noticed in my testing. With assets you're bringing in from Maya or Blender, you want to make sure that you do all of your scaling and rotating prior to actually bringing it into Unity. Otherwise, for this particular scene and these particular scripts, the obstacle will not appear here on the scene. So make sure that if you're bringing in a custom asset like I did for this project, make sure that you actually do all of your scaling and all your rotating before bringing it into Unity, because otherwise it won't work. Second thing I noticed is that the order of these scripts matters, not just which scripts you're using, but the order that they are placed in your inspector does actually play a role. Not a big role, but it does play a role. So make sure when you're when you're copying scripts from other assets and reverse engineering into your own assets, that you put them in the same order that they were in the inspector for the other asset, and make sure you tag things properly. As you can see, I'm doing really well at this game, but eventually it's going to get quite difficult, so I'm just going to go ahead and die here. Yeah, just a short video about creating obstacles. Hope you enjoyed, hope you got something out of this. I will see you next time when we target the background and customize that.